Hello everyone, welcome to my channel SW Metro official channel.
Robyn Brown, often seen as Kody's favored wife, made a heartfelt plea for understanding and reconciliation, only to be swiftly shut down by Paedon Brown, the outspoken son of Christine Brown. What made this moment even more telling was Kody's lack of intervention. His silence spoke volumes, further highlighting the fractured relationships within the family. Robyn, who has frequently been accused of manipulating family dynamics to her advantage, found herself in an unfamiliar position during this exchange, vulnerable and seeking empathy. Her plea seemed to stem from a place of genuine distress, possibly in response to the growing estrangement between Kody and his other wives and children. Over the years, Robyn has been painted as the primary reason for the family's disintegration, with many fans believing that her entry into the family disrupted the delicate balance that once existed. Whether or not this perception is entirely fair, it's undeniable that Robyn has become a polarizing figure, often bearing the brunt of the family's frustrations. Paedon, Christine's son, has never been one to hold back his opinions, especially when it comes to Robyn and Kody. His blunt dismissal of Robyn's emotional appeal was a stark reminder of the deep-seated resentment many of the Brown children harbor toward her. Paedon's reaction was not just a personal rebuke but a reflection of the broader sentiment among Kody's older children, who feel that Robyn's presence has irreparably damaged their family structure. His refusal to entertain Robyn's plea underscored the reality that some wounds may be too deep to heal, at least for now. What was perhaps most revealing about this exchange was Kody's silence. As the patriarch of the family, one might expect him to step in, mediate, or at least attempt to defuse the tension. Yet, he had nothing to add, no words of comfort for Robyn, no attempt to bridge the gap between her and Paedon, no acknowledgement of the pain on either side. This passivity has become a recurring theme in Kody's recent behavior, leaving many to question his leadership and emotional investment in the family. His inability, or unwillingness, to address conflicts head-on has only exacerbated the divisions, making reconciliation seem increasingly unlikely. This moment also raises broader questions about the sustainability of plural marriage, at least as practiced by the Browns. The ideal of a united, harmonious family has long since crumbled, replaced by infighting, jealousy, and estrangement. Robyn's sad plea and Paedon's harsh rebuttal are symptomatic of a family that has grown apart, with loyalties fractured and trust eroded. Kody's silence in the face of such tension suggests a man who either no longer knows how to hold his family together or has simply stopped trying. For fans of Sister Wives, this scene was both heartbreaking and frustrating. Heartbreaking because it laid bare the emotional toll of the family's breakdown, and frustrating because it reinforced the sense that Kody has abdicated his role as a leader and peacemaker. Whether Robyn's plea was sincere or another attempt to position herself as the victim is up for debate, but what's undeniable is that the Brown family is in crisis, and unless someone steps up to facilitate healing, the fractures will only deepen. In the end, Robyn's plea being shut down by Paedon, with Kody offering nothing in response, serves as a microcosm of the larger issues plaguing the family. It's a moment that encapsulates the pain, resentment, and dysfunction that have come to define the Browns in recent years. And unless significant changes are made, it's a dynamic that seems destined to repeat itself until there's nothing left to salvage. Brown family from Sister Wives have long been a source of fascination and controversy among viewers, with each season peeling back new layers of tension, resentment, and unresolved conflict. One of the most emotionally charged moments in recent discussions surrounding the family involved Robyn Brown's vulnerable plea for understanding, only to be swiftly shut down by Paedon Brown, Kody's son from his marriage to Christine. Meanwhile, Kody, the patriarch of the family, remained conspicuously silent, offering no support or mediation, a pattern that has become all too familiar in the fractured relationships of the Brown clan. This incident underscores the deep divisions within the family, highlighting Robyn's struggle for acceptance, Paedon's lingering grievances, and Kody's failure to bridge the growing chasm between his wives and children. Robyn, often portrayed as the scapegoat or the outsider in the family, has faced relentless criticism from fans and some of Kody's other children, who accuse her of manipulating Kody and driving a wedge between him and his other wives. Over the years, she has repeatedly attempted to defend herself, insisting that she never intended to disrupt the family and that her intentions were always rooted in love and unity. However, her efforts to explain her perspective have frequently been met with skepticism and outright hostility. In this particular instance, Robyn made a heartfelt appeal, expressing her sadness over the fractured relationships and her desire to mend fences. Her words, however, were quickly dismissed by Paedon, who has been vocal about his disdain for Robyn in the past. His sharp rebuttal not only invalidated her feelings but also reinforced the narrative that Robyn is an unwelcome figure in the eyes of many of Kody's older children. Paedon's reaction, while harsh, is not entirely surprising given the history of the Brown family. As one of Christine's children, Paedon has witnessed firsthand the decline of his parents' marriage, which he and many viewers attribute in part to Kody's shifting loyalties toward Robyn. The resentment many of the older children feel toward Robyn stems from the perception that she received preferential treatment, more of Kody's time, resources, and emotional investment, while the other wives and their children were increasingly sidelined. Paedon's refusal to entertain Robyn's plea reflects a deep-seated anger that has been festering for years, a sentiment shared by several of his siblings. His blunt dismissal also suggests that, in his eyes, Robyn's words ring hollow, perhaps because he believes her actions have spoken louder than her apologies ever could. What makes this exchange even more telling is Kody's silence. Throughout the family's public unraveling, Kody has often been criticized for his lack of leadership, his favoritism, and his inability to take accountability for the role he has played in the family's disintegration. In this moment, when Robyn was visibly hurt and Paedon was openly defiant, Kody had nothing to add, no words of reconciliation, no attempt to mediate, no defense of his wife, and no fatherly guidance for his son. His passivity speaks volumes about his detachment from the emotional realities of his family. Rather than stepping in to foster understanding or at least de-escalate the tension, Kody's silence further cemented the perception that he is either unwilling or unable to address the deep wounds within his household. This incident is emblematic of the larger issues plaguing the Brown family. The breakdown of trust, the lack of effective communication, and the absence of a unifying figure, Kody, have left each member to fend for themselves emotionally. Robyn, whether fairly or unfairly, has become the lightning rod for much of the family's discontent, bearing the brunt of blame for Kody's failings as a husband and father. Paedon's harsh response, while difficult to witness, is a symptom of a much deeper problem, one that Kody has done little to resolve. Until Kody takes meaningful steps to acknowledge the pain he has caused, to hold himself accountable, and to actively work toward healing, these explosive confrontations will likely continue. Brown family from sister wives have long been a source of fascination for viewers, but recent revelations and conflicts have exposed deep fractures within the plural marriage. One particularly emotional moment unfolded when Robyn Brown, often seen as Kody's favored wife, made a heartfelt plea for understanding and reconciliation, only to be swiftly shut down by Paedon Brown, Mary, and Kody's outspoken son. Meanwhile, Kody, the patriarch of the family, remained uncharacteristically silent, offering no support or mediation in the heated exchange. This incident highlights the ongoing tensions between the original Brown family members and Robyn, whose arrival in the family has been a point of contention for years. Robyn, who joined the family in 2010 as Kody's fourth wife, has frequently been accused of receiving preferential treatment, a claim that has fueled resentment among the other wives and their children. Over the years, many of the Brown children, particularly those from Christine and Janelle, have expressed frustration over perceived favoritism toward Robyn and her children. Paedon, known for his unfiltered opinions, has been vocal about his disapproval of Robyn's influence on the family structure. When Robyn attempted to address these issues in what appeared to be a genuine effort to mend relationships, Paedon did not hold back, dismissing her words as insincere. His blunt response underscored the deep-seated mistrust that has festered within the family, particularly among the older children who witnessed the gradual disintegration of their parents' marriages. Robyn's plea seemed to stem from a place of exhaustion. Tired of being labeled the villain in the family's narrative, she sought to clarify her intentions and express her desire for unity. However, Paedon's immediate rejection of her words suggested that, for him and possibly others in the family, the damage was irreparable. His reaction was not just a personal rebuke but a reflection of the collective frustration felt by many of the Brown children who believe Robyn's presence altered the family's dynamics for the worse. What made the moment even more telling was Kody's silence. Typically, Kody inserts himself into family conflicts, often taking a defensive or domineering stance. Yet, in this instance, he had nothing to add, no defense of Robyn, no reprimand for Paedon, no attempt to mediate. His silence spoke volumes, further emphasizing his emotional detachment from the children of his earlier marriages and his inability, or unwillingness, to bridge the growing divide. This incident is just one of many that illustrate the breakdown of the Brown family's once unified front. Since Christine's departure in 2021, followed by Janelle's gradual distancing and Mary's lingering but disconnected presence, the family has splintered beyond repair. Kody's insistence on loyalty and obedience, particularly during the COVID-19 pandemic, alienated many of his children, who saw his rules as disproportionately favoring Robyn's household. Paedon's refusal to entertain Robyn's plea is symbolic of a larger rejection, not just of Robyn, but of Kody's leadership and the version of plural marriage he now represents. For Robyn, the moment was likely devastating. Despite her efforts to integrate into the family, she remains an outsider in the eyes of many. Her tears and appeals for understanding have become a recurring theme on the show, but they often fall on deaf ears among those who feel she disrupted the family's equilibrium. Kody's failure to stand up for her in this instance may also hint at his own frustrations, whether with Robyn, his children, or the collapse of his polygamous dream. Ultimately, this confrontation between Robyn and Paedon, with Kody's silence looming over it, serves as a microcosm of the Brown family's unraveling. It underscores the irreparable rifts caused by favoritism, miscommunication, and Kody's failure to lead with fairness and empathy. As the family continues to fracture, moments like these make it clear that some wounds are too deep to heal, and no amount of pleading can restore what has been lost.